Funny story. When I was, I'm going to say a teenager, I lived in a community where people went to San Juan, Puerto Rico for Christmas holiday. And I was brought up on the East Coast in Connecticut. And my parents always tried to do something a little different. My mom was a science teacher. And she said, San Juan, you could be anywhere. You can be in Iowa. Let's go to Puerto Rico and go visit the Arecibo radio telescope. Arecibo radio telescope was just decommissioned after, like, I guess that was about 50 years. We saw it when it was only a couple of years old. It was brand new. And what they did is they had a natural uh, indentation, like a bowl-shaped contour in Puerto Rico. Apparently they have many of these. That's what the rock formation is there. And they just filled it with chicken wire and made the largest radio telescope in the world. So my mom says, let's go there and visit. So what do? Yes, we fly into San Juan like other people we knew did. And then we got in a car. My dad was a salesman. He loved to drive. We drove all the way around the other side of the island so that we could drive inland to Arecibo. So where did we stay? We stayed in Boca Raton State Park in Boca Raton, Puerto Rico. And we stayed in these cabanas that were all concrete, $7 a night. They're probably not much more than that now. And the key to it was the way they built these things is they built a plywood formwork. Formwork generally refers to when you're pouring concrete. You set up two pieces of plywood, you pour the concrete between them. When it cures, you take away the boards. That's why you can see the texture of wood in concrete sometimes. That's a formwork, and that's standard for concrete. What they did in this case was the formwork included the walls, the shower stalls, the tables, the counters, the bed platforms. So you walked in this place and it was 100% concrete and everything you need was there. In aerospace and maybe elsewhere, this is called outfitting. You know, you build a structure and then how do you outfit it? This stuck with me for all these decades to the point where when I saw them before NASA had pivoted to Artemis, they were still talking about Mars instead of the moon, and they were talking about the challenge of habitation there. And there were some scientists that had realized you could find sulfurous soil on Mars and sinter it to make a kind of a form of concrete. To which I said, well, why not pour that concrete into a formwork, just like in Boca Raton, and have everything already done? You have the desks and the platforms, the cot platforms, and you could outfit it as much as you want. And I started talking it up to NASA scientists who I had access to for a variety of reasons, going to first sci-fi conventions and then Science Meets Sci-Fi. And they kind of validated this and early on added to it with this idea of granular compression, which means, hey, you don't even need the cement to add to sand to make concrete. Just use the sand. Use regolith, as pulverized stuff on the ground is called on Mars or the moon. On Earth, we call it sand because it has biological matter in it, or it's dirt. It has a number of other things in it. But just put this stuff in your formwork, pressurize it, constrict the support members it's installed in, it's loaded into, until it triggers granular compression, and those granules of sand, dirt, regolith interlock and become like concrete. And that was the start. So my inspiration goes back to, thanks my late mom and dad who wanted to go to do everything differently than other people did it, in particular see the radio telescope at Arecibo. So I got to see the poured formwork cabanas at Boca Raton, and someday I want to take a trip and see if they're still there.